Have you ever felt lost in a foreign airport, with no idea how to get to your destination, and wondered how people manage to travel so easily?
I think we've all been there at some point, but the key is to be prepared and know a few essential phrases that can help you get by in any situation.
Exactly, and that's why we're talking about travel prep today, to help you learn those phrases and feel more confident when traveling abroad.
In this episode, you'll learn how to hold on to important information, pick up new words and phrases, and turn up the volume on your language skills, and we'll also discuss a common mistake that most learners get completely wrong.
You'll also discover how to call back to mind important details, and look forward to your next trip with excitement, rather than anxiety, and we'll share some tips on how to make the most of your travels.
So, let's start with the phrase get by, which means to manage or survive with limited resources, and it's really useful when you're traveling and don't speak the language fluently.
For example, if you're in a foreign country and don't speak the language, you can use the phrase get by to ask for help, like I'm trying to get by with just a few words of French.
That's right, and the common mistake is to use the phrase get by to mean to pass an exam or test, which is not correct, and instead, you should use the phrase pass or succeed.
Here's the weird part: when you're traveling, you often have to hold on to your luggage and important documents, and the phrase hold on can also mean to wait or pause for a moment.
Exactly, and you can use the phrase hold on to ask someone to wait, like can you hold on for a minute while I check the map?
Now, let's talk about the phrase pick up, which means to learn or acquire a new skill or language, and it's really useful when you're trying to learn a few words of the local language.
For example, you can say, I'm trying to pick up some basic Spanish phrases before my trip to Spain, and the common mistake is to use the phrase pick up to mean to lift or carry something, which is not correct in this context.
Another useful phrase is turn up, which means to increase the volume or intensity of something, and it's really useful when you're trying to listen to someone or follow instructions.
For example, you can say, can you turn up the volume on the GPS so I can hear the directions? And the common mistake is to use the phrase turn up to mean to arrive or show up, which is not correct.
Here's the weird part: when you're traveling, you often have to call back to mind important details, like your flight number or hotel reservation, and the phrase call back can also mean to return a phone call.
Exactly, and you can use the phrase call back to ask someone to return your call, like can you call back later when you're free?
Now, let's talk about the phrase look forward to, which means to anticipate or expect something pleasant, and it's really useful when you're planning a trip or vacation.
For example, you can say, I'm really looking forward to my trip to the beach next week, and the common mistake is to use the phrase look forward to mean to see or notice something, which is not correct.
Here's the weird part: when you're traveling, you often have to be flexible and adapt to new situations, and the phrase get by can also mean to manage or survive in a difficult situation.
Exactly, and you can use the phrase get by to ask for help, like I'm trying to get by with just a few words of English.
Let's summarize what we've learned so far, and I'll try to use all the phrases in a mini story. So I arrived at the airport and tried to get by with just a few words of the local language, but I had to hold on to my luggage and important documents, and then I tried to pick up some basic phrases from a phrasebook.
That's great, and then you can say that you turned up the volume on your GPS to hear the directions, and you had to call back to mind your flight number and hotel reservation, and you're really looking forward to your trip.
Exactly, and today's challenge is to use one of these phrases in a sentence in the comments below, and we'll respond with feedback and corrections.
If you enjoyed this conversation, subscribe for daily English practice, and don't forget to hit the notification bell to stay up to date on our latest episodes.
Tomorrow, we'll be talking about food and cooking, and I'll be sharing some of my favorite recipes and cooking tips, so be sure to tune in and join the conversation.